Renters are doing it tough. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's have a look at this article from news.com.au. So the same day we're looking at articles from Domain, which is discussing falling rents in Sydney and Melbourne, we have other articles now from originally the Herald Sun, now on news.com, discussing how renters are doing it tough, accessing their super and skipping meals to make ends meet. Now, in my video about 5 ways to prepare for a recession, I actually suggested fasting, so your fears about going without food are overcome. Perhaps that's a little too stoic for some people, but I suggest it's a philosophy you all look at if you haven't. So, looming cuts to government support and dwindling savings will push struggling renters who've been skipping meals and accessing super to the brink of a financial precipice, new research warns. Well, this is the impending fiscal cliff, which is constantly being pushed out. We've got job seeker bonus, which is running out. You've got JobKeeper propping up businesses. You've got trading while insolvent propping up businesses. You've got mortgage holidays, keeping people from having to pay their mortgages. The worst is yet to come for many Australians who have been impacted by the COVID, with new research warning looming cuts to government support and dwindling saving balances will push them to the brink of a financial precipice. Now, we've discussed this, just the fiscal cliff of when these interventions will be removed, several times in several videos. Many people have been warning about that it's going to be the beginning of an economic collapse. Well, our money velocity is going to take a hit. Spending is really going to take a hit. But it really feels like that we're seeing a K-shaped recovery. You're seeing some parts of the economy, some people, some industries are not being impacted at all, and others are just in a dire strait. And it's been exacerbated because of the government interventions into the economy have disproportionately affected certain businesses, certain trades, certain parts of the economy than others. A survey of 15,000 tenants carried out at the height of the pandemic has exposed a reliance on temporary measures like JobKeeper, the topped-up job seeker, to make ends meet, highlighting the need for ongoing welfare payments well into 2021. Now, here's the thing. Will they actually... Do you believe they will actually get rid of these support mechanisms? Do you think they'll get rid of it? I think there'll be more and more support one way or another. It looks like it. The banks are talking about mortgage holidays extending for years. Guys. I mean, get a loan, never pay it off. Incur interest. How many people are we going to have that are at retirement age that are still in debt because of this? And we saw the number of people that just went straight to Centrelink who didn't have an emergency reserve. A third of respondents said they'd been forced to tap into their savings, and about 1 in 8 into their superannuation to afford the roof over their head, according to the Australian Housing and Urban Research Institute research. Others even reported having to skip meals, bringing in an extra housemate, or moving out altogether, with almost half suffering stress and anxiety due to the pandemic. Well, I mean, that's going to happen. This is a shocking thing. It's good to see that they're bringing in extra housemates to save money or skipping meals. These are ways to save money. You've got to do it, guys. You've got to do it. It's just part of life. When adversity comes, you find a way to adapt. People are more resilient and more capable than they often even realize. Almost 2/3 experience negative changes to their employment or income, including reduced hours, retrenchment, and temporary job loss, reflecting a high rate of casual workers and employment in pandemic-hit sectors like retail and hospitality. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the K-shaped recovery. All the civil servants, they're probably still getting their pay rises, guys. Victorians had endured the biggest mental toll due to the state's extended lockdowns, lead researcher Emma Baker of the University of Adelaide said. And renters have been buffeted to a greater extent, especially with JobKeeper and Job Seeker were in full flight, and with hits on their superannuation and using up their savings, she said. So I suspect the story will get much worse when these buffers disappear. Well, yeah, we're entering a recession. Recessions aren't good. They're not good. but they happen. And they're necessary in a way to, well, for the market to correct. For the market to correct, so we don't have bubbles. So businesses that are just not competitive have to fall aside, and then new opportunities arise. That's a good thing. Professor Baker said the survey revealed JobKeeper had helped struggling renters keep their heads above water, while the COVID-19 supplement boosting JobSeeker had increased quality of life by, for example, allowing people to afford fruit and vegetables for the first time. I mean, this is the problem, guys. The worst food, the most unhealthiest food, all the processed carbohydrate stuff is the cheapest. To eat healthy is more expensive. When we were really doing it tight, Rachel got our food budget down a lot, but it was really processed stuff. Fruit and veg, you can find places that can do it pretty cheap, but the problem is, it doesn't last as long. And now to eat healthy, we just buy our beef in bulk. And I know I mentioned that in almost every video. It's something to consider. That was one of my recession tips. More support after JobKeeper ended on March 28, and JobSeeker supplement expired on December 31 was crucial, she said, noting the next round needed to be targeted towards those in greatest need, like families and households earning less than $90,000 a year. Professor Baker also called for coordinated national framework for tenant-landlord negotiations on rent reductions. Well, we're already seeing rent reductions. We're seeing them happen in Sydney and Melbourne. The market will correct. You just need to leave it alone. That's the thing. You need to get out of the way and leave it alone. But they won't do that. There's too much drive, political push to intervene. Of the respondents who requested discounts or deferrals, 59% say they were approved, but 36% were denied or ignored. Many of those who never asked said they anticipated refusal, were too embarrassed, or concerned about keeping their rental record unblemished. On top of these short-term fixes, Professor Baker said the pandemic had exposed the importance of transforming the rental sector from an avenue for mum and dad investors to make money into a provider of healthy housing for the 1/3 of Aussies who are now tenants. I mean, see, this is the thing, and I've actually got some hate mail, and I'll do a video about that later, where just people look down at you if you're a renter. Look down at you if you're not a homeowner here in Australia. It's quite perverse. Everyone wants to be a landlord, and yet they want to spit on the people who they're making all their money off. It's really sad in a way that our culture's gotten to that point. COVID-19 gives us the chance to say, what housing system do we want to see? And provide housing of a good standard that allows people to live healthy and productive lives, she said. The report declared delivering more secure and affordable housing was fundamental to the nation's post-COVID economic recovery. Well, see, there's going to be more calls for intervention. Well, I would say there are less calls. I would argue the opposite. I say if we want to get housing at a reasonable, affordable level, we need to remove the incentives that drive up the price to encourage people to invest in it to make a loss. We need to taper off negative gearing. And then you need to increase the tax-free threshold. The government's not getting the money anyway. And don't worry about, but it keeps housing cheap. Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It may keep rents slightly cheaper, but it's driving up the cost of housing, so it's harder for people to get into it. So the yields will go down. It'll adjust. You just need to get out of the market. But they can't do it. They're too obsessed. This is all they know now. Stimulate the economy, housing, building. And we see it. We see it in building approvals. Going up. And don't get me wrong, I've done well on my property investment. We're about to invest significant money into extending our house and increasing the number of bedrooms significantly. Because, well, it's not an investment, it's a home. So I don't care if the value tanks. I'm going to be here for probably until I die. Unless it really goes nuts. So, this is the thing. We're just juicing up this one market. What else is the state doing? What do you think, guys? What do you think of my suggestion? You think we can decanter off negative gearing as a way to try and get the housing market a little bit more sensible? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next episode.